the candidate expectations that are out there for pay and what organizations are willing to pay are the widest divergence since I've been in the workforce. The term analytics just means counting things. This drives me crazy. It's counting things in service of creating an insight, and that insight is in service of making a decision. Anytime they release something new, it breaks everything.
Your release strategy is their adoption failure.
My definition of talent, it's performance minus effort. Organizations just pay for the performance. The talent is the differentiating factor between who requires less effort for the same unit of performance.
This is William Tincup, and Cole is with me today. Cole, how are you doing?
Good. How are you doing, William?
I'm doing well. Would you please introduce yourself to the audience?
Should I go through all my bona fides?
I would dare you to do that. Yeah.
All right, do we have 20 minutes?
No, just give us the name, rank, serial number. You're right.
So, background in IO psychology, currently the chief people intelligence officer at HR Bench. That's new, by the way.
Yes.
I don't think we've chatted since then.
No.
Author of the book People Analytics and podcast host on the Work Defined Network for Directionally Correct.
And he has a wonderful Substack. A really wonderful Substack.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And the founder of the Data Driven HR Academy.
Oh, good. We're going to keep going.
We're going to get...
I see where you're doing it.
All right, I'll stop there.
No. It's all good. It actually gives context for people that are listening. So a couple questions. Current thoughts on AI adoption. So we've been talking about AI for 8 years, agentic, generative, whatever. What's your take on how do we get people to use AI?
Yeah. I've been kind of frustrated with this conversation lately because there's a few different ways that you could go about doing this, but I'm going to break it down into 3 categories. There's just individual usage, like you're using ChatGPT or Claude. There is the kind of the out-of-the-box AI that comes from the vendors kind of on this floor. And then there is the orchestrated use of AI agents that are likely built in-house on top of your own proprietary tech stack. And when organizations are talking about the huge lift that they're getting from AI, it's usually in that 3rd category. But when people are talking about using AI, they're usually talking about the 1st category. And so it's a conversation of people talking past each other that I think needs to get clarified.
I couldn't agree more, quite frankly. And again, I kind of like when people love ChatGPT and don't like Claude, or like one over the other. And I'm like,
choose your sycophant.
Yeah. This one's better than the other. I'm like, yeah, okay, if you say so.
Sure.
That's great.
Yeah.
How do you recharge your battery, your innovation battery? So we all kind of go through slumps. You get down, get tired, etc. So how do you go about that?
I'm a little bit different than most because I think I just try to choose a forcing function of like doing something else that forces me to do this. So writing the book was one, building the academy was another. What I'm doing with HR Bench is frankly another that I'm kind of undergoing right now. And it just forces me to be up to date.
Right.
I mean, I'm like you. In a lot of respects, I talk for a living. And you've got to be doing what's on the bleeding edge if you're going to speak about it publicly. There is no net. You're on the Hire Wire Act. And so it forces me, like my most recent journey actually is on a personal level, is just reconstructing my entire life around Claude Cowork, Notion, and Google, the G Suite, and how I can use those 3 things to like never copy and paste something again. And that has been a fun and also labor intensive, and also like there's been a lot of waste, but a lot of good. And I think when you hear people talk about it publicly, they only talk about the good or they only talk about the waste. And really it's a mixture of both.
You got to put in the work to then get to the outputs that you like. And oh, by the way, that's not ever done. Maybe every 3-6 months, you got to kind of.
Correct. Well, the funny thing is anytime they release something new, it breaks everything.
100%. I used to tell this to software vendors all the time. Your release strategy is their adoption failure.
Yeah.
So you're really charged up, especially in SaaS. We're going to release every month. We're going to release every quarter. We're going to release every week. It's like you release you're that change management that that your customers have to go through is intimidated.
Yeah. I'll give you an example from the podcast, actually. I created all these tiles in Notion for each one of my episodes. It has all my notes all aggregated in one place. It's all automated. And I got up this morning and it had automatically duplicated everything. Do I need 2 copies of every episode? No.
No.
But Claude Cowork just decided that I needed that.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be doing something preemptively.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're going to also download this or upload this to another area in case you lose something.
Yeah, some redundancy there.
Or they're watching the weather patterns and knowing that tornadoes are coming,
Yeah.
great.
We've created a bomb shelter for you. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, well, you didn't need it. Well, actually, technically you did.
Yeah, you might.
You might. So let me ask you a recruiting question. I know it's a little bit outside of the things that you study, but what do you think the hardest thing in recruiting is right now?
Well, I just came in prep for this to the SHRM Talent Trends presentation where they were going through all the research. And the interesting thing to me that I saw that was different from most of my career is pay has always been an issue,
Right.
but it's really an issue right now. And I mean meaningfully different than the past, because the candidate expectations that are out there for pay and what organizations are willing to pay are, as far as I can tell, the widest divergence since I've been in the workforce. And I don't know how organizations are going to navigate that, but I'm sure here at SHRM we're going to figure out how.
Well, the equity issues that have been historically, Twinkie to Twinkie, number 2 pencil to number 2 pencil, everything's even. AI, if someone can do the job in 8 hours, so do 40 hours or 50 hours of work in 8 hours versus someone that has to do 50 hours of work in 50 hours, they're doing the exact same job. They're not equals.
Correct.
So how do you ever get in front of that pay inequity?
You know, it's interesting because this is called SHRM Talent. And in my book, I talked about my definition of talent. And it gets to exactly what you're saying, which it's performance minus effort, right? So organizations just pay for the performance. They don't care if you spent 50 hours or 5 hours.
Not at all.
Right?
Not at all.
And so the talent is the differentiating factor between who requires less effort for the same unit of performance.
If you truly want work-life balance, get faster at doing outputs. Just find a way to do the efficiency so that you can spend more time hiking, scuba diving, whatever you want. What's keeping you up at night these days?
Well, I'll say in the recruiting space, since we're here, I think one of the things that's keeping me up is the skills divergence of what is necessary for human beings to be able to have the jobs of tomorrow. And then I would say their personal or their employer's willingness to build those skills to be ready for tomorrow. I see that, again, a great divergence going on where the ratcheting up of the skills that are necessary to do any particular job or occupation is going through the roof, but the willingness of humans or their employers to build those skills is not on the same plane.
Right.
And so it's a recipe for failure.
Right. Well, I saw on Instagram the company's name Palantir.
Palantir.
Thank you. The CEO basically said the future of work looks like this. Either you're going to be a skilled laborer and go into one of the trades and go there, or you're going to be neurodivergent, ADHD, autism, anything that's neurodivergent.
Right there with us.
Because, yes, because you think outside the box,
Sure.
and so it's kind of scary
Yeah.
for like our kids and stuff like that. If you don't fit one of those categories, there's not really a great future for you. I did have another question that I wanted to ask about workforce analytics, because you've been doing it since the beginning.
Thank you for taking me back into my ecosystem.
It's important. So what do people get confused? Because, it's a big overarching everything. and it can be something really, really small. So what do they get right and wrong when they talk about workforce analytics? Or how would
Well,
you like for them to think about
yeah,
workforce
yeah, yeah.
analytics?
I think there's this confusion. This has plagued me for decades. So just give me a chance to vent here for a second. Is that the term analytics just means counting things?
Yeah,
This drives me crazy.
yeah, yeah.
And so they're like, you see, we counted a bunch of things.
There's the
We
dashboard.
did the analytic hole.
No,
Don't you love it?
analytics means there's just analysis.
And so there is the process of counting things. It's not like it's devoid of that, but it's counting things in service of creating an insight, and that insight is in service of making a decision, and that decision is in service of creating ROI for the business, and the quantification of that entire process is analytics. And I don't know if I could do a PSA, that would be it.
Connecting all those dots. So not just doing one part or the other, but doing the work of actually connecting all of those dots.
Well, see, like I get accused of being a nerd sometimes, which is probably not wrong.
No.
But the reality is people think that people in my role should just sit in the back room and crunch numbers all
lab
day.
coat.
And if you describe that entire value chain I just described, there is some of it that's backroom type of activities, but there's a lot of front of the house stuff that needs to go on. And just to give an example, like I said, I was just at a presentation for this, and there were two researchers up there, and I could tell one of them was like the talker researcher and the other was the data cruncher researcher. And they needed both of them to be able to convey, because if the data cruncher was talking too much, eyes were glazing over.
Someone said standard deviation, and the crowd kind of started to drift a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the reality is the onus is on all of us to be both.
Right.
Right. And again, that's going back to skills. That's an upskilling challenge, because what every one of those people was taught in their education is just get good at one of these things. And the reality is, and maybe this is what the Palantir guy was saying, is, it's these crazy, creative types that boundary span that are going to kind of own the future. And I do agree with that. I don't think it's necessarily just going to be neurodivergent people. Is everybody else going to be, a skilled tradesperson? I'm not sure. I do think that there is job security in that space, and I have seen from prior roles the data to back that up.
100%.
But, if robots come along, then who knows? I mean, all bets are off, right?
Yeah. We'll just let them handle everything, and we're just going to sit back and, have a good life.
Exactly.
One of the things that used to frustrate me early in people analytics and talent analytics was people rushing to a dashboard.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, is the dashboard telling me red, yellow, green? What's it telling me I need to do? So it didn't forecast. It didn't tell me what to do. It was like, it's great. We have this, but like, again, that's rendered. It comes from all these different databases. I mean, it's kind of like the Vizier story, business intelligence, right? So BI, fantastic, great dashboard. But what do I do with that data?
Yeah. The funny thing, my riff on business intelligence is it's neither business focused nor intelligent. So it's like, is that something you really want to aspire to be? No, I say all that to say that a lot of people, they think about it like they think about watching a weather forecaster, right? And when you're watching a weather
Nice.
forecaster, he's going to tell you, or she's going to tell you, is it going to rain today? And yeah, like, and what percentage and how fast the wind is blowing. Is it sunny or cloudy? And really everybody just wants to know, do I need to bring an umbrella? And that's what they want out of their dashboards is, do I need to bring an umbrella? And if your dashboard doesn't tell you that, it's essentially useless.
That's right. In Texas weather, you just always keep an umbrella in your car
Yeah.
because
It's either going to be 110 degrees or it's going to be a downpour.
just pick one,
There's no in between.
flip a coin. I think that the weather forecasters, my dad used to say this when I was growing up. If you want to know the weather in Texas, go outside. There you go. Now
Yeah.
you know.
That's the weather.
But he
What
also,
are you seeing in this space, William?
a lot of confusion, a lot of talking over practitioners. Instead of engaging practitioners and finding out what they really are struggling with, I think we're doing the same thing we've done several times with on-prem to SaaS, with responsive design, with social, with what we're doing now with AI, and what we'll be doing with AI forever is learning from them how they need to use it
Yeah.
and doing a better job of training them. Like, if you want people to use your AI, the third bucket that you mentioned earlier, you've got to sink a lot of money into training. And if you do, that's the stickiness. They'll use it, they'll hack it, they'll come up with different ways for it to do stuff for you, and they'll never leave you.
I'm curious, how do you stay up to date with practitioner needs?
Talk to them.
Talk to them.
Yeah. Talk to them and have frank conversations, both online and offline, of just like, where's the pain and where's it hurt right now?
So tell me if you've noticed this, something I call the conference speaker effect. So at least in the analytics realm, I know all the big players. We're all friends, and I see them speak out on stage, places like this. And one of the things I notice is there's a great divergence between our private conversations and their public persona as to like what's really happening. And you would see them present on stage, just be like, man, I should be
doing that.
I should be doing that. And then
Yeah.
you talk to them privately, and you say, oh
Yeah,
God, don't
no
do
one's-
what we're doing.
No one's doing that.
And so how do you, because if you realize that there's like a function going on there, it's so much more important to get the private information than the public information. How do you personally sift the wheat from the chaff?
So everyone for years, people have asked me, who does this well? So let's just say talent analytics who's doing it well? And my canned response is, you'll never know,
Yeah,
because they'd be fools to tell you,
because
Because
there's so much wisdom in that.
because it's a competitive advantage. If they're doing recruiting well, if they're doing compensation well, if they're doing performance, quality of hire, any of those things, if they're doing it really well, they're not writing books
Yeah,
and they're not on circuit speaking, because it's
listen for the silence.
It's all right. So you actually have to do that. You have to look for the people that aren't talking. And in Texas, we have that phrase of I hear what you're not saying. That's the bit. So if they're out on the circuit, they're not the people to actually follow.
This is why I talk to you, William. You've got the best nuggets.
It's they could be doing cool shit. Don't get me wrong, but they're not the actual ones that are truly innovating, because they're not allowed to.
When I've been on this kick lately of talking about intelligence rather than analytics, and the purpose behind it is like a lot of people confuse intelligence. They're like, is it business intelligence, or
AI.
is it IQ, or is it AI, which is
Yeah.
intelligent? And I've been talking about the intelligence practices that like intelligence agencies use, and specifically what they're looking for is smoking out the silence.
Yep.
How can we find the secret information?
Well, that's how you find black holes.
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
you look for where it's dark and where it stays dark.
And so I think for the people that are listening to this, the important thing is get the right kind of, it's not just, data is fine. Data is great. But getting the data that gives you a level of intelligence about things that are not public information is really a key differentiator for you moving into the future.
So can we say something is intelligence, and like I think, is it a leading indicator or a lagging indicator? And here's where I'm coming from. It's like what you'll leave behind, whatever that is, your legacy of sorts. You could say you're the best at whatever, but it's really up to other people to say that you were the best at whatever, right?
Yeah.
And you're no longer there. So is it really intelligent or intelligence unless we do something with it? And I'll tell you where it come from. When I used to do user adoption consulting, I would tell people a feature is not a feature unless someone uses it.
Yeah.
So intelligence isn't intelligence unless you do something with it. Other than that, it's data, it's an input or an output, but let's not call it intelligence.
Sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sanguine on the difference between kind of a leading and a lagging indicator, in the sense that I believe both have their place in providing actual actionable decision-making capabilities. So like an example would be, something that happened a long time ago, but could still have
Right.
impacts today, is like, who killed JFK? That would be a lagging indicator.
Right.
But it would actually probably tell you a lot about how the world works if you really knew the answer, right? And a leading indicator would be like, who are they going to kill next? I don't know. But that would be really meaningful information.
It would be.
Yeah.
Especially if you could predict. Now we could go and wager, which would be great. Make
Got a
money off of it.
cow sheet.
Hell yeah. Well, we'll go and bet 365.
Yeah.
Lay down some money. Cole, how do people get in touch with you? How do they reach you?
Easiest way is LinkedIn. Obviously, you can find the podcast, the newsletter, all the stuff I'm doing at HR Bench, buy the book, all the Data Driven HR Academy, but
Substack, podcast.
Substack. Find me through William. William's actually kind of my interpreter. If you want to get in touch with me, you find him.
Then I put you on Slack. Cole, somebody just wanted to talk to you.
Well, I
Please
got
reach out to him.
screen him out, please.
Please, please. Alrighty. Thank you for being here. Thank you for carving out time for us.
Thanks for having me, man.